Before we dive into this tale of unexpected connection and enduring love, remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave your comments below. Your support helps us share more incredible stories like this one. The weary mother and the CEO's shoulder. "Oh no, I'm so sorry." Isabella woke with a jolt, lifting her head from a stranger's shoulder. "I can't believe I fell asleep on you. How embarrassing." The blonde man looked at her with a calm smile, gently adjusting the baby Isabella held in her arms. "Don't worry, really. Your little one didn't wake up once. I think my shoulder served as a pillow for her too," he said in a soothing voice, noticing the deep circles under the young mother's eyes. Isabella felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment as she settled Sophia more comfortably in the carrier. The bus was breaking into the Palermo district, and she needed to get off. "I just didn't sleep at all last night. She's teething and cried until 4 in the morning," she explained quickly, fumbling for her bag amidst the crowd of passengers. "I work at the hotel just around the corner, and I can't be late again." "The Hilton?" he asked with genuine curiosity. "Yes, I'm in housekeeping. Well, by day I clean rooms, and in the evenings I teach English classes to pay the rent." Isabella bit her lip, wondering why she was telling her life story to a stranger. "Anyway, thank you so much for not waking me up. You're very kind." The bus came to a complete stop, and she hurried towards the rear door, juggling her bag, the diaper bag, and Sophia. "Wait!" the man called out. "Do you take this bus every day?" "Yes, the 6:30 number 60. "Why?" "No reason, just curious. Have a good day." Isabella stepped off the bus, feeling strange. There was something in the man's blue eyes that had made her feel safe, protected. It had been a long time since she'd experienced that feeling. As she walked towards the hotel, she couldn't help but glance back at the receding bus. The stranger was watching her from the window, and when their eyes met, he raised his hand in a small wave. "How odd," she murmured, clutching Sophia closer to her chest. Sebastian Vega watched the young mother disappear into the Palermo crowds. In all his months of taking public transport, he had never experienced anything like this. The way she had so confidently fallen asleep on his shoulder, the tenderness with which she held her baby, the honesty in her words. It was all completely different from the world of pretense he lived in. He stayed on the bus until the next stop, lost in thought. Isabella. He didn't even know her name, but there was something about her that had touched him deeply. When he finally arrived at his office on the 35th floor of a glass tower, his assistant, Maria Elena, greeted him with the day's agenda. "Good morning, Mr. Vega. Today you have the meeting with the Japanese investors at 10, then lunch with—" "Maria Elena," he interrupted. "Do you know which hotel is directly across from where the number 60 bus stops? The Hilton?" "Yes, in fact, we're holding the company's annual conference there next week." "Why?" Sebastian felt a strange twist of fate. For months he'd been taking public transport to understand the real lives of ordinary people, tired of living in his bubble of privilege. And now, when he had finally met someone authentic, it turned out she worked exactly where he would be next week. "Nothing important," he lied, heading into his office. But in his mind, he was already planning to take the 6:30 number 60 bus every day until he saw her again. Isabella arrived at the hotel, rushing, with Sophia still asleep in her arms. Her supervisor, Mrs. Carmen, was waiting for her with a stern face. "Isabella, this is the 3rd time this month you've been late." "I'm sorry, Carmen. Sophia was sick all night, and I fell asleep on the bus. But I'm here now, and I'll make up the time. I promise." Carmen looked at her with more understanding. She had also been a single mother, and knew how hard it was. "All right, honey, but try to organize yourself better. You know I value you, but the managers aren't as understanding as I am." Isabella nodded, and quickly headed to the locker room to change into her uniform. As she put on her white blouse and navy skirt, she couldn't stop thinking about the stranger from the bus. There was something different about him. Not like the men who usually approached her. He hadn't tried to flirt or made comments about her being a single mother. He had simply been kind. How silly I am, she told herself. He's probably already forgotten about me. But as she began cleaning the first room of the day, a small part of her secretly hoped he would be on the 6:30 bus again tomorrow. She had no idea that at that very moment, a few blocks away, Sebastian Vega was canceling his chauffeur for the rest of the week. Seb? Isabella was surprised to see him sitting in the same spot on the bus. I didn't think I'd see you again. Well, this is my everyday bus, he replied, standing up to offer her the seat. How's the little princess? Sophia, as if understanding they were talking about her, smiled from the carrier and reached her tiny hands towards Sebastian. She seems to remember you, Isabella said, sitting down carefully. She slept better last night, thank God. Only woke up twice. I'm glad to hear that. You seem like an amazing mom. Sebastian gripped the pole as the bus swayed. And does her dad help you with her? Isabella's smile faded a little. There's no dad. Well, there is, tot. But he left when he found out I was pregnant. Said he wasn't ready to be a father. She sighed. Sophia and I are on our own, but we're doing fine. Right, my love? Sebastian felt a mix of anger towards the man who had abandoned them and admiration for Isabella's strength. His loss, he said simply. Anyone can see that you two are a treasure. Isabella looked at him curiously. In 3 days of knowing him, this man named Seb hadn't asked a single intrusive question or tried to hit on her. He was just genuinely kind. And what do you do? What's your job? I work in business consulting, Sebastian lied, hating himself for it. Nothing too exciting, mostly numbers and reports. Oh, like an accountant. Something like that. He quickly changed the subject. And the English classes? Do you like teaching? I love it. I always wanted to be a translator, but when I got pregnant, I had to drop out of university. Isabella stroked Sophia's head. Someday I'm going to finish my degree. Sophia is going to see that her mom doesn't give up. The determination in her voice stirred something in Sebastian's chest. In his world of privilege, he knew many people who complained about insignificant problems. Isabella faced real difficulties with a dignity that impressed him. I'm sure you'll achieve it, he told her sincerely. Over the next 2 weeks, their morning encounters became the favorite part of the day for both of them. Isabella started getting up 10 minutes earlier to fix herself up a little better, though she didn't want to admit why. Sebastian canceled all his breakfast meetings and declined his chauffeur's offers. Did you bring breakfast again? Sebastian asked, seeing the small bag in Isabella's hands. They're alfajores I made last night. Sophia wouldn't let me sleep, so I started baking. She held out one wrapped in paper. I hope you like them. Sebastian took the alfajor as if it were the most valuable gift in the world. In his penthouse, he had desserts from Buenos Aires' finest chefs, but nothing compared to something made especially for him. It's incredible, he said after the first bite. Where did you learn to cook like that? My grandmother. She raised me after my parents died in an accident when I was 12. Isabella spoke without drama, like someone recounting a simple fact of life. Grandma always said food made with love tastes different. Your grandmother was very wise. Yes, but she died when I was 18. That's why I'm alone with Sophia. I don't have any more family. Sebastian felt a pang in his heart. He who complained of feeling lonely with all the money in the world, and she was truly alone, raising a baby with no help from anyone. You're not alone, he said softly. You have us, those of us who take this bus every day. We're like a weird family. Isabella laughed for the first time since he'd known her, and the sound was like music to Sebastian. You're right. Mr. Roberto, the driver, even knows Sophia by name now. As if summoned, The driver's voice came over the loudspeaker. "Good morning, beautiful Sophia. How's the Princess of the 60 doing this morning?" The regular passengers smiled, and some waved at the baby. Isabella blushed a little. "See, you're famous already," Sebastian told Sophia, who babbled happily. Meanwhile, at the hotel, Isabella worked with a smile that didn't go unnoticed by Carmen. "And that look of being in love, honey." "I'm not in love," Isabella protested as she wiped down the bathroom mirror. "I just met someone kind." "Uh-huh. And this someone has a name?" "Seb. We see each other on the bus every morning." Carmen frowned. "And what do you know about him? Where does he live? What does he do?" "He's a business consultant, and he's really good with Sophia." "Carmen, for the first time in a long time, I feel, I don't know, accompanied." "Just be careful, Isabella. Good men exist, but there are also many who take advantage of single mothers." Isabella knew Carmen spoke from experience. She had raised 3 children alone after her husband left her for a younger woman. "Seb isn't like that. He's different. He's kind. He's smart. He treats Sophia well." "That's what we all think at first." Carmen looked at her with maternal affection. "Just don't get your hopes up too fast, okay?" Isabella nodded, but in her heart, she already knew it was too late. Every morning she eagerly awaited getting on the bus, not just to get to work, but to see those blue eyes that made her feel special. She had no idea that at that very moment, a few blocks away, Sebastian was in a meeting on the 35th floor of the building across the street, completely distracted thinking about her. "Mr. Vega," his partner's voice snapped him out of his thoughts. "What do you think of the expansion proposal?" "Pardon me, could you repeat that?" His employees exchanged surprised glances. Sebastian Vega never got distracted in meetings, but lately, he seemed to be in the clouds. If they knew he was thinking about a woman who cleaned hotel rooms and believed he was a simple office worker, they would have never believed it. "You seriously have never been to Palermo at night?" Isabella asked as they walked along the docks after her English classes. Sebastian lied so naturally now that even he sometimes believed himself. "No, I hardly ever come around here. It's too fancy for me," he said, looking at the towers where his office and penthouse were located. "I like to come for a walk when I have free time, which isn't very often." Isabella carried Sophia, who observed everything with curiosity. "It makes me dream of having a different life someday." "What kind of different life?" Isabella stopped in front of one of the most expensive restaurants in the port, where Sebastian had dined hundreds of times. "One where I can take Sophia to places like this without having to check the menu prices first." She smiled with a hint of sadness. "Where I don't have to worry about paying the rent every month. Where I can buy her toys without calculating if I have enough for diapers." Sebastian felt a tightness in his chest. He had spent on a single dinner what Isabella earned in a month, and he had never stopped to think about it. "You're going to have that life," he told her with conviction. "You're very intelligent, very hardworking. Things will get better." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I know you, and I know you're one of those people who don't give up." Isabella looked at him with an expression that made Sebastian's heart race. There was something different in her eyes that afternoon. "Thank you for believing in me, Seb. It's been a long time since anyone told me things like that." Without much thought, Sebastian leaned in and gently caressed her cheek. "Anyone who doesn't see how incredible you are is blind." The rain started just as they reached the cafe bookstore, where Isabella sometimes studied English. They took refuge inside, soaked and laughing while Sophia clapped, amused by the adventure. "Can I get you something warm?" the waitress asked. "2 coffees, please," Sebastian said, before remembering he should act like someone who watched every penny. "Well, 1 is fine. We can share." "Don't be silly. I'm paying for my coffee." Isabella pulled some coins from her bag. "Don't even think about it." Sebastian put his hand over hers. "My treat." The contact lasted only a few seconds, but it was enough for both of them to feel an electric current. Isabella didn't pull her hand away immediately. "You always want to pay for everything. How do you do it? I thought consultants didn't earn that much." Sebastian felt the familiar panic of his lies. "I've saved a lot. I don't have many expenses. I live in a simple place." As they waited for the coffees, Isabella noticed Sebastian looking at the books on the shelf with real knowledge. Not faked. "Have you read Cortázar?" she asked, pointing to hopscotch. "It's one of my favorites. You?" "I tried, but it's too complicated for me. My English is good, but my education..." She shrugged. "I dropped out of high school when my grandmother died to work. Education isn't just measured by degrees," Sebastian said firmly. "You're one of the smartest people I know." "How can you say that? You've only known me for a month." "Sometimes a month is enough to know a person's heart." Isabella looked at him intently. The rain beat against the windows. Sophia slept peacefully in her arms, and there was something in the atmosphere that felt magical. "Seb?" "Yes?" "What are we doing?" Sebastian understood the question perfectly. For weeks they had danced around an attraction that was impossible to ignore. "I don't know," he admitted. "I only know that these encounters are the best part of my days." "Mine too." They looked at each other in silence for a moment that seemed eternal. Then, not knowing who moved first, their lips met in a soft, sweet kiss, full of all the unspoken words. When they broke apart, Isabella had tears in her eyes. "I haven't kissed anyone since Sophia's dad." "Do you regret it?" "No," she whispered. "Not at all." That afternoon, Carmen was waiting for Isabella in her apartment with a worried look. "Where were you? I called you like 10 times. "Sorry, my phone ran out of credit." Isabella put Sophia in her crib. "I was with Seb." "Isabella, sit down. We need to talk." Carmen's serious tone alarmed her. "What's wrong? What do you really know about this man? Where does he live? Have you seen his house? Do you know his family?" "Carmen, we've only known each other for a month. It's not like we're getting married tomorrow. But you already like him. It shows on your face, honey. And I'm worried you're getting your hopes up with someone who could be anyone." Isabella felt defensive. "Not all men are like your ex-husband. Seb is different. He's kind. He's smart. He treats Sophia well. That's what we all thought at first. And look how I ended up." Carmen looked at her with maternal affection. "Just don't get your hopes up too fast, okay?" Isabella nodded, but in her heart, she already knew it was too late. Every morning, she eagerly awaited getting on the bus, not just to get to work, but to see those blue eyes that made her feel special. What she didn't know was that a few blocks away, Sebastian was in his penthouse, pacing like a caged lion, wondering how on earth he was going to tell her the truth without losing her forever. The kiss that afternoon had changed everything. It was no longer just an adventure or a social experiment. He had fallen madly in love with Isabella, and now the lies he had built threatened to destroy the only real and good thing he had found in his life. "You're Sebastian Vega?" Isabella's voice sounded shaky when she saw him get on the bus that morning. Sebastian felt the world stop. Isabella's eyes didn't show their usual warmth, but a mixture of pain and betrayal that tore him in half. "Isabella, let me explain." "Explain what?" Her voice rose, making other passengers turn. "Explain that you've been lying to me for a month? That I'm entertainment for a bored rich man?" "It's not like that, please. It's not like that." Isabella stood up from her seat, holding Sophia with trembling hands. "Yesterday I saw you at the hotel, giving your presentation as the big CEO. Everyone was talking about Mr. Vega, the young millionaire, the owner of the technology company." Sebastian tried to approach, but she backed away. "Listen to me. Yes, I am Sebastian Vega, but my feelings for you are real. Everything we've experienced is real." "Real?" She laughed bitterly. "What part is real? That you told me you were a consultant? That you live in a simple place? That you have to save to buy me a coffee? Isabella, please get off at my stop and let's talk. I have nothing to talk about with you. Tears began to roll down her cheeks. Do you know what hurts the most? That I thought I had finally found someone who saw me as an equal. But to you, I was just the poor little maid who cleans your hotel, right? That's not true. I never thought that of you. Then why did you lie? If you really respected me, why didn't you tell me the truth from the beginning? Sebastian was left speechless because he had no answer that didn't sound selfish and cowardly. The bus stopped in Palermo. Isabella headed for the door, but before getting off, she turned one last time. Do you know what the worst part is? That I really believed you cared. That I believed someone like me could matter to someone like you. You matter to me more than anything in the world. If that were true, you wouldn't have lied to me. Isabella got off the bus and didn't look back, though Sebastian called her name until the bus pulled away. The following days were hell for both of them. Sebastian couldn't concentrate at work, canceled important meetings, and Maria Elena had to make excuses to Japanese investors who had flown in especially to see him. Mr. Vega, are you all right? His assistant asked after he rejected the 5th call of the day. I'm fine, Maria Elena. With all due respect, you don't seem fine. Did something happen in your personal life? Sebastian looked at her ironically. His personal life, as if he had one before meeting Isabella. Let's just say I made a very big mistake, and I don't know how to fix it. Do you want to talk about it? Sebastian was tempted. Maria Elena had been his assistant for 5 years, and was one of the few people he trusted. But how to explain that he had fallen in love with a woman who believed he was a poor office worker? It's complicated. Love is always complicated, Mr. Vega. Sebastian looked at her, surprised. How do you know it's about love? Because in 5 years, I've never seen you like this. So lost. Money problems don't affect you. Work problems don't either. Only matters of the heart remain. Isabella, for her part, alternated between sadness and rage. Carmen found her crying in the hotel's cleaning supply closet on the 3rd day. What happened, honey? Did he break up with you? Worse. He lied to me for an entire month. Isabella told her the whole story between sobs. Oh, Isabella, I told you, I warned you. I know, you're right. I'm an idiot. You're not an idiot. You're human. And he's a scoundrel for lying to you like that. But as the days passed, Carmen began to notice strange things. The hotel managers spoke of Mr. Vega with genuine respect, not the fear they usually had towards powerful rich people. One of the reception girls mentioned that he had implemented a scholarship program for employees' children. Another commented that he always treated the cleaning staff with courtesy, something rare in men of his position. Isabella, Carmen told her one afternoon, I'm not defending him for lying to you, but I've been asking around about your Sebastian. He's not my Sebastian. Whatever. The point is, he doesn't seem to be like the other rich people we know. The girls say he's different. What do you mean? That maybe he had his reasons for lying. Bad reasons, but reasons nonetheless. Isabella looked at her with distrust. Now you're defending him? I'm not defending him. I'm just saying that maybe you should listen to what he has to say. I've heard enough lies. But at night, when Sophia was asleep and she was left alone with her thoughts, Isabella couldn't stop remembering the tender moments they had shared. The way Sebastian had treated her daughter, the sincerity in his eyes when he told her she was intelligent and strong, the kiss in the rain. Was it possible to fake all that? Was it possible for a man to act with such tenderness just for fun? Friday night, Isabella was feeding Sophia dinner when her cell phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Isabella, it's Sebastian. Please don't hang up. Her first instinct was to cut the call, but something in his voice stopped her. He sounded broken. How did you get my number? That doesn't matter. I need to see you. I need to explain it and everything. There's nothing left to explain. Yes, there is. There are many things you don't know, things that might change the way you see all of this. Like what? Like why I started taking the bus? Like why I lied? Like why I never, ever thought of you as entertainment? Isabella felt her resolve waver. Sebastian, one chance, Isabella, just one. If after listening to me, you still hate me, I swear I'll disappear from your life forever. Isabella looked at Sophia, who watched her with her big, curious eyes. Her daughter deserved a mother who wasn't a coward, who faced difficult situations. All right, but in a public place and only for half an hour. Thank you. Sebastian's voice was filled with relief. Tomorrow at the cafe where we kissed. Isabella felt a pang in her chest recoil. At 3 in the afternoon, and Sebastian, if you lie to me again, even about one small thing, you'll never see me again. Understood. I promise you'll know the complete truth tomorrow. After hanging up, Isabella stared at the phone, wondering if she was making another mistake, or if she was finally going to get the answer she needed. I can't believe you came, Sebastian said, when Isabella arrived at the cafe, carrying Sophia in the baby carrier. 30 minutes, she reminded him, sitting at the furthest table. Start talking. Sebastian took a deep breath. He looked different, more vulnerable than ever. I started taking the bus 6 months ago because I felt empty. I have all the money in the world, but my life had no meaning. I wanted to understand how real people lived, people who worked for every peso. And you decided to study us like lab rats. At first, maybe, he admitted, and the brutal honesty in his voice surprised her. But when I met you, everything changed. It wasn't an experiment anymore. It was you, Isabella, you and your strength, your love for Sophia, your way of seeing life. Then why didn't you tell me the truth? Because I was scared. Sebastian looked her straight in the eyes. Scared that you would see me like everyone else, like the spoiled millionaire who wants to buy everything. Scared that you would think I was only pursuing you out of pity. And you prefer me to think I'm so foolish I wouldn't notice? You're not foolish. You're the most intelligent woman I know. That's why I fell in love with you. Isabella felt her heart race, but she wasn't going to soften so easily. Pretty words, but how do I know you're telling me the truth now? Sebastian pulled out his phone and showed her the screen. These are the anonymous payments I made for Sophia's pediatrician. This is the deposit I made to the English school where you now work, so they would create the position you have. I didn't do it to impress you. I did it because I couldn't bear to see you suffer. Isabella looked at the receipts, her eyes wide. You paid for Sophia's appointments, and I regret doing it in secret. I should have asked you first. But Isabella, when you love someone, you want to help, and I love you. I love you like I've never loved anyone. Tears began to roll down Isabella's cheeks. Part of her wanted to run to him, but the wounded part still ached. How do I know you won't lie to me again? You don't, he said simply. You can only trust me, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving that you deserve that trust. Isabella was about to respond when her cell phone rang. Carmen, what's wrong? Isabella, where are you? Sophia has a high fever. She's really bad. Isabella looked at the baby in her arms and realized that, indeed, she was hotter than normal and very still. Oh my God, I'm coming. Sebastian stood up immediately. What happened? Sophia is sick. I have to go. Isabella grabbed her things with trembling hands. I'll take you to the hospital. No, I can go alone. Isabella, this is no time for pride. My car is right outside. Isabella looked at her daughter, who was now crying weakly, and nodded. Sebastian's BMW arrived at the children's hospital in record time. Isabella ran through the corridors with Sophia in her arms, while Sebastian spoke rapidly on the phone. Who are you calling? Isabella asked, as they waited in the emergency line. The best pediatrician in the city. He's a friend of mine. Sebastian, I can't afford. I don't care about money right now. All that matters is that Sophia is okay. 15 minutes later, when they still hadn't been seen at the public hospital, Dr. Ramirez arrived, an older man with a kind face. Sebastian? Where's the little one? Doctor, this is Isabella, Sophia's mom. The pediatrician examined the baby carefully, while Isabella held back tears. It's a very strong ear infection. She needs antibiotics immediately. Can you come to my office? It's 10 minutes from here. At the private office, while Sophia received treatment, Isabella collapsed into a chair. Is she okay? The doctor asked. Yes, I was just so scared. She's the only thing I have in the world. Sebastian sat beside her, and without thinking, Isabella let herself be embraced. In that moment, the lies and wounded pride didn't matter. All that mattered was that Sophia was okay, and that she wasn't alone. She's going to be perfect, Sebastian whispered in her ear. She's strong, like her mom. At 2 a.m, in the hospital room where they decided to keep Sophia for observation, Isabella and Sebastian had the most honest conversation of their lives. Thank you, Isabella said, for everything, for bringing me, for the doctor, for staying. You don't have to thank me for anything. I love that child, as if she were my own. Isabella looked at him with fresh tears in her eyes. Why? Why do we matter so much to you if you barely know us? Because you two taught me what true love is. Sebastian took her hand. My life was empty, Isabella. I had money, success, everything that's supposed to matter. But I had no purpose. You gave me a purpose. Sebastian, I also fell in love with you. But the lie hurt so much. I know, and I'm not asking you to forgive me immediately. I'm just asking for a chance to show you who I really am, without lies, without masks. Isabella looked at Sophia, who slept peacefully after her medicine. Do you know what scared me most about finding out who you were? What? That I was going to fall even more in love, because the Seb from the bus already had me lost. But Sebastian, the man who left everything to help my daughter, the one who stayed all night here with me, that man scares me. Why does he scare you? Because with him, I really could fall in love forever. Sebastian felt his heart leap out of his chest. Then let yourself fall in love forever. I already have. Isabella looked at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she intertwined her fingers with his. All right, but this time with the complete truth. I promise you. Do you want to know a secret? What? I've been canceling my most important meetings just to take the bus with you. My partners think I've gone crazy. Isabella laughed for the first time in days. Maybe you did go crazy, completely crazy, crazy in love with me and Sophia. And there, in the hospital room with their daughter sleeping peacefully between them, Isabella and Sebastian sealed their new beginning with a kiss full of true promises. 6 months later, Isabella walked through the halls of the University of Buenos Aires with a smile she couldn't hide. She had just left her advanced translation class and held a perfect exam in her hands. How did you do? Sebastian was waiting for her in the cafeteria with Sophia in his arms, who was now 14 months old and babbled "Dada" every time she saw him. Excellent. I think I'm going to be top of the class this semester. Isabella kissed Sophia and then Sebastian. How was the princess? Perfect. We played in the park. She ate all her baby food, and I taught her to say "Mommy studies." Sebastian smiled, though it came out more like "Mommy studies." Isabella laughed. The last few months had been the best of her life, but also the most challenging. Learning to trust again hadn't been easy, and Sebastian had had to prove with actions that his promises were real. Do you know what day it is today? He asked as they walked to the car. Friday. Why? Why? It's exactly 1 year since you fell asleep on my shoulder on the bus. Isabella stopped dead. Really? A year? A year since my life completely changed. Sebastian looked at her with those blue eyes that still made her tremble. Do you want to celebrate? How? By taking the number 60 bus like old times. An hour later, they were at their usual stop, waiting for the bus. Sophia was in her new stroller, but Isabella still carried the same diaper bag as before, though now by choice, and not by necessity. "Look who's here," Mr. Roberto said, when he saw them get on. "The famous number 60 family." The regular passengers greeted the family warmly. Over these months, Sebastian had continued to take the bus occasionally, not to pretend to be someone else, but because he had learned to value that community. "Do you remember the first day?" Isabella settled into the same seat where it had all begun. "You looked so tired, so fragile, but also so strong." Sebastian caressed Sophia's hair. "I never thought a woman with a baby would change my life. Do you regret it?" "Lying to you, yes. Everything else, never." Isabella had seen the changes in Sebastian over these months. His company now had financial inclusion programs for working families. He himself had started to get more involved in daily operations, knowing his employees by name. "Do you know what I like most about you now?" Isabella asked him. "What?" "That you no longer pretend to be someone else. Neither the poor office worker nor the inaccessible CEO. You're just Sebastian. It's what you taught me, to be myself." The bus stopped in Palermo, but this time neither of them got off. "Aren't you going to work?" Isabella asked. "I quit." "What?" Isabella looked at him in astonishment. "When?" "This morning. Well, not exactly quit. I put Maria Elena as CEO. I'm going to focus on the company's social projects." "Sebastian, are you sure? It's your company, your life." "My life is you, and Sophia, and I want to spend time with you, not in boring meetings." Isabella felt her heart swell with love. "And what are you going to do now?" "Well," Sebastian smiled mischievously. "I thought you could be my study assistant. Carry your books, watch Sophia while you study, make you coffee." "The millionaire Sebastian Vega wants to be my assistant?" "The man who loves you wants to be close to you all the time possible." The bus reached the terminal, and they were the last ones to get off. Mr. Roberto waved them goodbye with a smile. "See you soon, beautiful family." As they walked through the terminal, Sebastian suddenly stopped. "Isabella." "Yes?" "There's something else I want to tell you." Isabella noticed he was nervous. Something rare for him. "What's wrong?" "These 6 months have been the best of my life. Waking up and knowing I'm going to see you. Seeing Sophia grow up. Being part of your family. There's nothing I want more in the world." "Sebastian." "Wait, let me finish." He pulled a small box from his pocket and knelt right there in the bus terminal. "Isabella Morales, will you marry me?" Isabella gasped. People around them began to stop and take photos. "Are you serious?" "Completely serious. I love you. I love Sophia. I love the life we've built together. I want us to be an official family." Isabella looked at the ring, which was beautiful but not ostentatious. Perfect for her. "And if I say yes, do you promise no more lies?" "Not a single lie more. Only love and many bus rides." "Then yes, yes, I want to marry you." Applause from strangers filled the terminal as Sebastian stood up and kissed her. Sophia clapped from her stroller, not understanding, but happy for her parents' joy. 6 months later, in the main square of San Telmo, Isabella walked towards the altar dressed in a simple but elegant gown. Carmen, her maid of honor, wept with emotion beside her. "Are you sure, honey?" "I've never been surer of anything in my life." Sebastian waited for her at the altar, radiant with happiness. Beside him was Maria Elena as his witness, and Mr. Roberto had been a special guest, along with all the regular passengers of the number 60 bus. "Dearly beloved," the judge began, "we are here to unite Isabella and Sebastian." Isabella barely heard the official words. She was lost in Sebastian's eyes, thinking of the incredible journey that had led them there. "Isabella, do you take Sebastian as your husband?" "Yes, I do." "Sebastian, do you take Isabella as your wife?" "Yes, I do, forever." When they kissed as husband and wife, Sophia, who was now almost 2, shouted, "Mommy! Daddy!" from Carmen's arms, drawing laughter from all the guests. The reception was held at the same cafe where they had first kissed. Instead of a costly menu, they served empanadas from Isabella's favorite street vendor and homemade alfajores, made by the neighbors of San Telmo. During their first dance, Sebastian whispered in her ear, "Do you remember when you told me you dreamed of a different life? Is this the life you dreamed of?" Isabella looked around, her neighbors dancing with employees from Sebastian's company, Carmen laughing with Maria Elena, Sophia running between the tables with other children, her husband holding her as if she were the most precious thing in the world. "It's better," she replied. "It's much better than I ever dreamed. I love you, Mrs. Vega, and I love you, Mr. Vega, forever." And as they danced under the lights of San Telmo, with the sound of tango filling the Buenos Aires night, both knew that their love story, which had begun with a lie and a tired head on a stranger's shoulder, had become the most beautiful truth of their lives. 2 years had passed since that magical wedding in San Telmo, and Isabella and Sebastian's life had found a perfect rhythm between the extraordinary and the everyday. It was a Saturday morning, and the sun streamed through the windows of the apartment they had chosen together in Palermo. It wasn't the mansion where Sebastian had lived before, nor the small place in San Telmo where Isabella had struggled alone. It was something new, something theirs. "Mommy, Daddy, wake up!" Sophia, now almost 4, bounced on the marital bed, speaking in her characteristic mix of Spanish and English, which she had learned from Isabella's classes. "Good morning, Princess," Sebastian murmured, tickling her. "Why don't you let Mommy rest a little more?" Isabella smiled from the pillow, one hand resting on her 6-month pregnant belly. The baby on the way had been a wonderful surprise, but the first months of pregnancy had made her more tired than she remembered with Sophia. "It's okay, I'm getting up," Isabella said, sitting up slowly. "Besides, someone in here is awake too." She touched her belly where the baby was actively moving. "My little brother?" Sophia asked, leaning in to put her ear to Isabella's belly. "Your little sister," Sebastian corrected her. "The doctor said it's a girl, remember?" "Valentina!" Sophia shouted excitedly. "I'm going to teach her to speak English like Mommy!" Isabella exchanged an amused glance with Sebastian. The news of the baby's gender had excited the whole family. Carmen was already knitting pink blankets, and Mr. Roberto had joked that soon the number 60 bus would need a special seat for the Vega family. After breakfast, they decided to do something that had become a tradition. Take the number 60 bus to Palermo to walk along the docks. They no longer needed it for transport, but there was something special about reliving the place where their story had begun. "Mr. Roberto!" Sophia shouted when she saw the usual driver. "My favorite princess," the man replied. "And how's the future big sister doing?" "Very good. I'm going to teach her to ride the bus like Mommy taught me." The regular passengers greeted the family with their usual affection. Isabella noticed new faces too, workers making the same journey she had made for years, young mothers struggling as she had struggled. "Do you remember?" Sebastian whispered in her ear as she settled into her favorite seat. "How could I forget?" Isabella smiled. "Isabella, even though I look better now than that morning when I fell asleep on your shoulder, you were beautiful that morning too, excited, but beautiful." But Isabella had finished her translation degree with honors and now worked for an international NGO, translating documents that helped migrant families. It was a job that filled her with purpose, and the best part was that she could do it from home most of the time. Sebastian had kept his promise to focus on social projects. His company now had microcredit programs that had helped hundreds of families like Isabella's. Maria Elena managed daily operations, and he dedicated himself to what he was truly passionate about, using his fortune to create real opportunities. When they arrived in Palermo, they walked to the cafe where they had first kissed. It had become their Saturday ritual, having a late breakfast there, while Sophia played in the small park nearby. "Do you know what day it is today?" Isabella asked, stirring her decaffeinated coffee. "Saturday?" Sophia replied, focused on her juice. "It's the day Daddy and Mommy met," Sebastian said. 3 years ago." "Like my birthday!" Sophia clapped. "Are you going to have a party?" Isabella and Sebastian laughed. For Sophia, any important date deserved a celebration. "In a way, yes," Isabella said. "Every day we're together is a little party." Sebastian took her hand across the table, his wedding ring gleaming in the morning light. "Do you regret anything?" he asked. "Only one thing." Isabella paused dramatically. "Not meeting you sooner." "Really?" "No," she laughed. "Actually, I don't regret anything. Everything happened at exactly the right time. If we had met sooner, maybe you wouldn't have been ready to truly love, and I wouldn't have had Sophia." Sebastian looked at the little girl who was now chasing pigeons in the park, then placed his hand on Isabella's belly. "You're right. Everything was perfect, even the hard parts. Especially the hard parts," Isabella agreed. "They taught me to value this." As they returned home that afternoon, Sophia fell asleep on the bus, curled up between her parents. Isabella rested her head on Sebastian's shoulder, just as she had done that morning 3 years ago. But this time by choice, not from exhaustion. "Do you know what I love most about our story?" Isabella murmured. "What?" "That it started here, in the real world. Not at a fancy party or an exclusive place, but here with working people, with real problems, with true love." Sebastian kissed her head. "And that it continues here. We never truly left the number 60 bus. We're never going to leave." Isabella closed her eyes, feeling the familiar movement of the bus, the sounds of the city, the warmth of her family. "This is our place." Mr. Roberto looked at them in the rearview mirror and smiled. In all his years as a driver, he had seen many stories, but few as beautiful as this family that had fallen in love on his bus. "Next stop, Palermo," he announced over the microphone. "Home sweet home for the Vega family." Isabella opened her eyes and smiled. Home sweet home indeed. Not because it was the most luxurious or the biggest place, but because it was where they were together, where Sophia grew up happy, where Valentina would soon arrive in the world, where love had triumphed over lies, fears, and social differences. As they got off the bus and walked towards their building, Isabella felt a strong kick in her belly. "I think Valentina likes riding the bus," she said, laughing. "She's a Vega," Sebastian replied. "She's going to love hearing the story of how her parents fell in love. And perhaps," Isabella added, looking at Sophia, who was waking up in Sebastian's arms, "someday she'll also find love in the most unexpected place." "Expected, as long as it's not on a bus until she's at least 30, Sebastian joked. Isabella laughed, knowing that no matter where or when their daughters found love, she and Sebastian would have taught them the most important thing: that true love knows no social classes, that honesty is worth more than any wealth, and that sometimes the best things in life come when we least expect them. Thus, the story that had begun with an exhausted mother falling asleep on a stranger's shoulder continued to be written every day, with new chapters full of love, family, and the certainty that happy endings do exist, especially when built on solid foundations of respect, understanding, and true love. What a truly heartwarming and inspiring story. It beautifully illustrates how love can blossom in the most unexpected places and overcome significant challenges. What was your favorite part of Isabella and Sebastian's journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below.